buenas noches, bonsoir, bonne nuit. It is once again vendredi, the Friday of the month, Friday of the week, as it were. And Planet Glee is back with you. It's a call-in show, um, and I do have a guest tonight. I guess I should explain a little bit about what Planet Glee is trying to accomplish. Is uh, spreading the notion that we probably need to change some things about our consciousness before 2012, and and probably many of us are doing that through getting alternative healings, various. We've had Vedic astrologers. We even had an urban planner on to help us with San Francisco problems with traffic and the pedestrian. So yeah, it's and we've had riders, and um, tonight we are very blessed to have a person who's been on channel 29, cable access SF, for how many years now, Jud? I'm going to bring up his
I
name.
think it's 23 years. Isn't that something? 23 years.
It's been 23 years?
Yep.
And when you first started, you were at a different location, right?
Oh yeah, sure. When they were over at the building at 15th Street and Folsom or something. Anyway, they were in a different building then, yeah. And then they moved over to here.
And your show is done in the studio, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's not on right now, because the studio is closed.
It's on. We've brought a show in for every once a month that we broadcast on the fourth Tuesday at 4 p.m. I hope to make that into a global thing. It'd be interesting if I can make it into a global thing.
I would think that'd be really cool. And the name of your show is
Bro Jud on Love Energy.
Yay! Love energy. I think that appeals to all of us. But I know you're always working on something, so I want to give it to you to talk to us about what's latest in your brain, what's latest in your. Given that you're such a avid reader and you read so much, and you're a philosopher thinker.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well,
What's been going on?
I've been working on a way to network all of the brightest people in the world. And so anybody who knows how I live in my studio knows that I subscribe to the best publications I can think of. There's the MIT Review, Harvard Business Review, there's Scientific American, National Geographic. There's all these publications. I subscribe to all the news publications. And I have the time to read them because I'm disabled in a psychological way with the pension that enables me to be at home and pay attention to what's going on in the world. So the latest thing that I'm into is the mystical stuff, taking the advice of Timothy Leary. And then I started thinking of all the people in my head. And so mystically I've been getting into something called the Kabbalah. And I've been checking my numbers. And I think all my numbers are right. I think I'm concentrating on creating a sales force that will bring in more money than we know what to do with. And I mean more money. I'm talking about maybe $1.5 trillion, enough to make a job for everybody in the world that's unemployed. Now, how am I going to handle it, and what do I want for myself? I don't need anything. I'm okay. My pension is more than enough. I live simply. So all I want is not to dumb down. I just want to be able to be in love with the joy of learning, everyday learning. And so I'm building the world university, the invisible global university, and benefits world. You're one of the geniuses that I hope to see liberated to do whatever it is that you want to do. What are some things that you want to do if money were no object? Let's talk about that a little bit in terms of the Big Rock Candy Mountain Monumental Art Project introduces culture sculpture. So with a genius like you, we could just build anything at all that would be work that you're spiritual about. Have you given any thought to some things you'd like to do?
Yes, Jud. You're the one who gave me my first video camera. I've never had a video camera
Well, I'm
before.
so happy about that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, well, you really inspired me to get with it.
I think we
And
inspire each other.
yeah, no, I think that's true. I think definitely that's
I
true.
always feel I learn more from other people than they learn from me, but I love to learn from other people's experiences. And I think it's very important to build deep relationships. They don't have to be sexual. There's so many other kinds of intimacy, like creativity, innovation, uh, special interests. Special interests are really good. So go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. You were saying that you have given some thought to a framework of what you'd like to find yourself doing in an ideal situation.
Yes. Well, video is one thing. Getting into film is something I really wanted to do because I used to paint, and painting was my big thing, and I
Well,
wanted.
you're definitely a multimedia artist. There's just no question about it, including music, everything.
But I thank you, John. But I think that I'd film is something that reaches more people than
You mean like documentaries or stories, or like that slumlord thing they're making in India now, Bollywood? What are you talking about? Musicals? I'm interested in musicals. I'm interested in introducing a robot that is so intelligent that it runs ahead. Everybody is like, well, okay, what are my options? And then they'll give you your options. It'll be available. Everything will be there to help you be happy. My view of you and everybody that's a genius is to work half as much and spend twice as much time just keeping yourself amused and relaxing and being creative. So go ahead. You were telling me what you would like to do if money were not an object and if you had the full support of our organization.
Thank you, Judd. Well, I've been thinking about. At first, I was thinking documentary, and I do want to do a documentary.
A documentary really means point of view, having a point of view, and then communicating it and seeing who else is interested.
Yeah, it's almost like things come to me all the time, and it's weird because I've been going to the gym now, which was my New Year's resolution.
You are slimming down. I want to tell you, you're looking foxy, as trim as ever. Well, everybody likes to look good. That's normal, total normal.
Yeah, but the gym helps you feel good too, and sometimes it opens my mind. Like if I'm doing something that's like one of the machines.
My daughter Nina is into that too. It's such a good habit to get into. It's beautiful.
Yeah, but it's sometimes when my mind is freed up to think about, okay, if I were to do a film, how would I structure it, and what I would have to start with a short because I thought about writing a screenplay, but I'm not sure if I have the
well,
I don't know.
What are
Energy.
What are some of the themes that you and the values that you have arrived at now? You're a very sophisticated woman, so whatever you do is something that I think people will want to pay attention to, hear about. Are you thinking about putting out a blog and maybe going into business for yourself or becoming an executive of a nonprofit community organization? How do you see yourself? You were talking about designing some charter schools. I see education as a very big challenge for the world. So I want to be part of that. I want to be part of the sales force that does not sell products and does not sell services. What do we sell? Solutions. Solutions.
Well, I like your academy, the World
World
Academy of
Academy.
Charisma Education,
Yeah.
otherwise known as the University of Utopia.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who are educators would like to get into that
I
because
think so too,
you know.
and I think we just have to keep going until we get until it catches on. It'll catch on. All we have to do is just do what we're doing every day. So, how about your new place where you're living now? Are you comfortable there? Or
Oh,
more comfortable in terms
oh
of
yes,
transition?
yes, immensely, yeah. um, yeah, just no comparison. So
So then you're transitioning toward the ideal. When we have the money, you'll be able to get the ideal. Maybe you'll get a complete big studio where you can do everything you want to do. I want to help you be creative, and I know you're creative. We're both creative, very creative.
yeah, and we're both very disorganized. Guess what?
I don't think we're totally.
I am. I know I
I
am.
don't think I'm totally disorganized. I think I've got about 50 things to catch up on.
Yeah, you're
But
doing more things than me. That's why.
like for example, de de-slurrying my place by overcoming the block I have to filing,
Yeah.
putting information someplace in a folder and in a hanging folder where you when you want it, you know where it is.
Oh,
So
Jud,
I'm
excuse me.
working on that.
We've got a call.
Oh, okay.
Good evening. You are on Planet Glee.
Good evening, Planet Glee. My name is Mike, and I have a question for Bro Jud. Sir, could you tell me who are some of the current writers that you're reading at this time who reflect your philosophy?
Oh boy, that's a good question. I've been following Tom Waller over at the Commonwealth Club, and his specialty is business and leadership. And so I've been following him now. He has inspired me that they have what's called member-led programs. So they're all volunteers. I didn't know that. We just learned that the other day. Tom was a guest on our show. So let's see, who am I reading? Well, I'm mainly interested in the robot movement, the artificial intelligence movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested. I'm hoping to get a lot of money to work with Marvin Minsky, and I'm also interested in Roger Shank. He's written about 125 books, and he came and stayed with me as my house guest when he was just applying to go. I don't know how many years ago that was. Let's see, it was like about 40 years ago. Can you imagine? So imagine he's published 125 books. When he left me, he said, I went with him down to L.A. because he was preparing to apply to get into the artificial intelligence lab at Stanford, which he got into. But he asked me if he could stay with me. Did I have a guest room? And I said, yes, you could stay with me. And then we got to talking, and he asked me if I wanted to go down to L.A. with him and hang out with him, which I did, and so forth. Anyway, when he left, he said, you've been an ideal host. He asked me to do him a favor, which I did. I'll tell you about it sometimes. And he said, I owe you one. So I don't know if he's reachable now, but his writing is so good. Now, what I'm after is to prove to the world that God exists. I hope to prove it.
Mm.
And the
Nice.
way I intend to prove it is through the study of the Kabbalah. And,
Okay.
and so one of the pleasures I get out is learning, and one of the great organizations is called the Teaching Company, and they have these people from all over the world who are giving lectures on a given subject. So there's thousands of subjects. And so I'm into mega multitasking. Let's see. I love to read. I subscribe to Forbes. I love to read. I like to read some of the ideas of. Well, Paul Johnson is a big one with me. He's a historian, and I'm interested in what they're doing in China. One of the big people I'm very interested in is Deng Xiaoping, and he is the guy who said we don't have to go to war with the communists. We don't have to. That we can have corridors of techno-utopian capitalism, and that there are people that can fit in. Anyway, he did the Long March with Mao Zedong,
Oh.
and then he came back and he was in the second bunch of leaders, and now he's very revered all over China because he also made friends with the United States. I see the United States making friends with everybody, especially if we have enough money. So let's see. I'm very interested in all of the CEOs of all the organizations. I must have met 30 people through the Commonwealth Club where I paid to buy their books, and I hope to fit them into my larger plan, which is everlasting peace. Is that enough of who I'm reading? I must be reading at least 30 or 40 key people.
Fascinating. Do you think the current administration shares some of your views?
He said, do you think some of the current administration shares some of your views?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. This is the most exciting thing. I believe that I can be helpful to get a voters bloc of 52 million people that will be supporting the Democrats and and the president that we have in the United States, the family, the Obama family. I'm just so in love with them. So yes, I think everything that he wants to do, I want to move us into Second Life so that everybody that I've been reading about and studying that I feel attunement with can have an avatar, and then Jen and I and the rest of us, there's about 100 of us now that are individual artists that are building a social community.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for calling in, Mike.
Okay,
That was a great question. Those were great questions.
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Oh, by the way, at some point, we've got a bunch of literature. I'll be glad to put you on our list. I also have a blog. So at some point, we can find a way to be in touch with each other. Then I'll send you a kit and let you see if I can introduce you to some other geniuses.
Well, actually, Mike's a friend of mine. And
Oh, is that so?
yeah, and he taught for San Francisco Unified for quite a number of years.
Oh, to me, the teachers are so important in the future. The teachers are so. Education is what it's all about. Education, and then of course there's healthcare. But the way I hope to get the money is through research. You want me to tell you what the secret is?
What's the secret?
The secret is called Business 3. And you
Ooh.
know who understands it? Brad understands it. Business 1 was that you do your trade and you produce a product and you make jobs, and it doesn't matter. Philanthropy isn't, you're not interested in that. I forgot the guy that pushed that. Anyway, it's called Business 1, where the main thing is to find a need, fill it, make jobs, and make money, have a profit. That's Business 1. Business 2 was business was starting, that is, CEOs were starting to feel, hey, we're in a community, let's put a little bit back into the community. So you have the present philanthropy, which is around 2%. The philanthropy that is in business 3, I think we can get it up to 35%, and I think we can eliminate taxes. Anyway, I have a detailed plan to show how. Oh, here's the secret. You want to know the secret? The CEOs are the ones that have to know what's going on in the company and what's going on outside of the company. Whereas the executives, they just have to know what's going on in the company. A big part of the successful companies is research and development, R&D. They've just made a decision that they're not doing enough for the larger population. And so they're going to be taking 10% of everything they put into R&D. Hewlett-Packard has like $50 billion a year. They're going to take 10% and get the best ideas from their own people who want to work on projects that have the big picture, not just their own company, but society. And so that's why I wouldn't be surprised if Maimonides was right, that the Jewish waiting for a Messiah is not waiting for a person, waiting for a movement, something that will involve getting rid of our enemies. The enemies are pain, our enemies are diseases that are curable, like Alzheimer's, and the biggest enemy of all is abject poverty.
Absolutely, Jud. You know, we've only got 5 seconds to go, so
Okay, wow.
good night. Thank you for